I've made several videos in the past, one particular proving through Scripture that there is no pre-tribulation rapture, that this has been completely created by man about a century ago, beginning in England, really, and then making its way to the United States. And it's just taught, and I don't know why it's taught. There's no Scripture that supports it at all. There's actually literally there's not one single Scripture that points towards a pre-tribulation rapture. And the only reason people say there is because it's been spread to the United States from England about a century ago. But beyond that, people point towards things like, well, God says he'll protect us or he'll keep us from certain trials and that kind of thing. Now, that's not what that is, because God will protect you during times of tribulation, but you're here. And I want to take this video and just really, if you want to see those videos on what Scripture that is, I'm going to put the link right here. But beyond that, the reality is that what this video is about is the fact that they are definitely going to be underprepared. There's the sad truth about the pre-tribulation rapture believers that is so real that it's going to cause great harm as we continue to walk down this path of this new season towards Christ's second coming. And I just want to take a moment and talk about what these sad truths are. Number one, they won't be ready. They won't be ready. When the world starts turning over Christians and sending them to jail, and it'll happen really quick. As a matter of fact, Jesus says when that does happen, run. Don't even, like, if you're on your roof, don't go inside the house, just get out, run. Don't pack, don't nothing. And when that happens, they're not going to be ready. They won't be ready. They psychologically won't be ready at all, because it won't, and they will end up finding themselves turning in Christians. Number two, they won't understand God's directions written all within Scripture, and that's really one of the main reasons we're going through the book of Revelation verse by verse. I'm going to put that link here too, is to understand what it is we should be doing during the tribulation. If you don't understand what you're going to need to be doing, you won't be doing what God is asking you to do. And without understanding where you're at, when you're kind of waiting for this weird pre-tribulation rapture because somehow you're greater than all the other Christians who've been put through tribulation in the world, like somehow that God's going to save you from it, when he didn't even save the disciples, when he didn't even save his son Jesus Christ from it, somehow you're better than that. You're not going to be saved from it. There's people all around the world right now going through tribulation, Christians. Just because, some movies told you so and Hollywood told you so, it is not so. So you will not understand God's direction. And as a result, it could mean your life. It could mean all sorts of different things. It could mean your actual soul. Number three, they won't understand God's provision, because when you're an outlaw and you're on the run, he's going to give you direction, and it's clearly spelled out in Scripture. And if you end up going somewhere and he's providing for you, you're going to shoo that provision away. And I just kind of want to give you an example of provision, really strange provision. So, like Elijah, when he was sent to go stay by this creek or this brook, ravens came and fed him for a long time. And if that kind of thing is taking place, you're going to be shooing those ravens away and complaining that there's too many ravens around. You won't be ready for God's provision. You won't understand it, and you will get rid of it, not understanding what it actually is. The fourth thing is they won't understand God's protection. There'll be many moments in time that he'll be trying to protect them, but they will not understand it, and they will lean on their own understanding. They'll lean on what their instincts are telling them. They'll lean on what the world is telling them, and they won't understand God's protection, and that protection just simply won't exist in their lives. But the worst thing of all is the fifth thing. They'll get caught up in the world. They'll be completely caught up in the world. They won't see the Antichrist as the Antichrist, and they will worship him, and they will take his mark unknowingly, thinking he's some sort of great God that's going to somehow save them and make their lives better, just like we see everybody doing with their favorite politician today. So there you go. Again, the reasons it is the sad truth behind the pre-tribulation rapture believers. They won't be ready. And by the way, I'm not talking about prepping. Sure, but prepping for the world's events, That's what prepping is. Preparing for a spiritual war unlike this world or the universe has ever seen. That you won't be ready for. They won't understand God's direction. They won't understand His provision. They won't understand His protection. And they will get caught up in the world simply because they believed the lie. Love to hear your thoughts on all that. Put in the comments below. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. Feel called to support this channel with Patreon. That link is also below. But the most important part of this channel, we take prayer requests, so never hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.